Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? I hope you have your favorite coffee, tea, or eye opener. If you watched my live stream, this is one of the Funko Pops items I revealed, and it's Darth Vader, and it fits my mood today. If you haven't read my Twitter or followed me on Twitter, you don't know that I almost, I dropped a knife on my toe. So we're beginning off with a great start. So wait a couple more minutes for people to drop in and grab whatever time of day it is or night for you guys. Grab something to drink and join in. So good morning, Lorena, and good morning, pal. Hi, TT. How are you doing? So the first question of the day is, what are you drinking? So what is your eye opener? What is your choice of drink? Hello. So as I was setting up, because I switched, behind me is where I have my paint table, and in front of me is my office area where I have my books, my main computer, laptop, printer, all that. So I decided to switch areas because I have another painting project I'm doing. So I grabbed my laptop. I did not realize that there was a knife underneath something. I don't know if it's underneath the laptop or a piece of paper, whatever. And it slid off, went straight down, got me on the side of my toenail, stood up for about a second, and then fell over. And there you have it. Yeah. So, so interesting morning already. And I haven't even made my coffee yet. There was no coffee in the pot ready to be brewed. So my poor kitchen floor looks like someone was murdered there because I haven't had a chance to clean that up. So I am drinking Folgers today. And I've been drinking Folgers Black lately, but now I do have a little bit of cream in here and sugar. So let's see here. Who else came in? So I hope you guys are all doing well. And thank you guys for the well wishes on Twitter. I didn't grab my light source, my other light, because I have the warm light up here, and I didn't grab my my other light for the cool light. So I don't know if I'm too dark. If I need to go grab it, I will real quick. I just hate to waste time and have airspace. So GFan, hi there. My Barnes and Nobles is out of Star Wars EU books. This is disturbing. Yeah, and the reason why I posted that on Twitter is because a week ago, I always go, when I go up to the city that's near me, I always go through Barnes and Nobles. I keep track of the inventory of Legends over there, and I talk to the workers and the manager a lot. I interview people over there about Star Wars and what they prefer. I always have the consensus that they prefer Legends or the original lore other than the new stuff coming out. So this, like 2 weeks ago, I talked with someone, and he's a worker there, and he was saying, have you heard that Disney is going to discontinue the Legends books? And I was like, what? And someone made a good point. Maybe he's just thinking that that he was talking about 2014, or when they decided to make the original EU non-canon or not irrelevant anymore towards the lore. But the way he worded it, he said Disney is not continuing, is thinking, or the word is that they're not going to continue Legends anymore. And so that, I didn't say nothing. I did not broadcast it or anything. And usually they're really good at bringing books in and filling up the inventory. There's always new books in every time I go in. And it was kind of empty. Mind you, there was, we just got over the holidays. And they have told me that Legends is a bestseller there, and they always go quickly. And so I talked to a couple of the clerks, and they're like, well, we don't know anything about this. So I talked to the manager, and she pulled up the system and how they order their books. And she said, as of right now, they still have the go to order Legends to restock. So I will take that with a grain of salt with what he said. I will continue to research it. I don't think it'd be a smart move on Disney Lucasfilm to discontinue Legends. And, you know, if Twin Suns and the Expanded Universe organizations out there that I follow has not said anything yet, then also too, I take it with a grain of salt. However, I am keeping an eye on that. Hi, Stig. Hi, Happy Dinosaur. Folger's life, yes. TT, I'll be going to sleep soon, so I might just have a glass of water before I reach the snooze town. Yeah, that'll be good. Water is really great for your body. Drink it when you first wake up in the morning. Helps your organs and everything, wake up, I guess you can say. This is just the fitness person out of me and the fitness trainer. And then drinking water before you go to bed so that it helps with digestion and settles your stomach as well. I can imagine someone walking into your kitchen of the morning, seeing some blood on the kitchen floor. Well, clearly that means we're out of coffee. Yeah, don't mess with my coffee. And Stig, hello. How are you doing over there? Are you guys still going through storms? Has it settled down? Happy day to all. Afternoon, OG peeps. Hope you have a good day. I'm not surprised they are going to discontinue Legends. And like I said, take it with a grain of salt. I am a little concerned a little bit about it, but as far as I know, from what the manager said, they still have to go ahead on reordering those books. So I'll probably go in 2 weeks to check the inventory. They did discontinue Legends in the sense that they don't make new Legend products. Yeah, that's the thing. And that's the campaign that Twin Suns is doing. Twin Suns is an organization that helps bring books to kids in needs and everything as well. But also there's a campaign and I help contribute to it. And there's going to be 2 billboards going up in April near and around Lucasfilm asking to continue Legends. That's what we want. It's a parallel universe now. Star Wars has never been it. And that we would love to have stories continued in Legends as well as them still developing their lore in Disney Lucasfilm. So that's the focus. And so as long as we remain strong and stand together in maintaining this lore, purchasing books, reading, sharing, I choose Legends hashtag, then we can be that voice out there so that they know what we want. Hi, Drew. How are you doing? Disney is not beyond killing a success in order to promote their failure. That's for sure. But see, it's like they take 2 steps back and 1 step forward. And that 1 step forward is Mandalorian. And again, give credit where credit's due. I really like Mandalorian. I'm really curious about what's going to happen. It's a good show for what it is, and we shall see. And we shall see what the Clone Wars, like any new history with the Mandalore, if that's going to affect that as well. Let's see here. Hi, Sith Lord. Release Sword of the Jedi. Yes, I know. That would be great, right? If they go ahead and just let her get it published. That would be awesome. This thing is huge. Look at it. It's kind of fitting for my mood today. Yesterday was a great day. I actually woke up in a good mood too until, well, I'm not going to let me almost shanking my toe off. No, and that's just a joke, but I'm not going to let that, ruin my day and stuff. Yeah, my toe's throbbing a little bit, but hey, I'm still here and my toe is still intact. And that's what counts. I bought the EU omnibus from Dark Horses as soon as I heard about the sale to Disney. Yeah. And that's the thing. And that's, when I did my live stream haul of the items I got when I went down to LA. And then when I went up to the nearest city from me and I went into Barnes and Nobles, I went ahead and purchased like 2 of the collections of Marvel Comics, Star Wars Marvel Comics put together. So they're doing that. You can find them there now, all the comic collections all bundled up together. So I bought Legacy Volume 2 and then Star Wars Volume 1. And so each one, they have like 1, 2, or 3 volumes, depending on how, oh, darn it. That's my main computer. I have something stuck in the drive there. But yeah, so I bought them and they're bundling them up. And so I've never collected comics. And so now I'm picking them up just to have them because you never know. They might discontinue even the comic prints. So I suggest to go find those as well. And so I have Legacy Volume 2. I need to get Volume 1 with Kate Skywalker and the Fel Empire. So the descendants of the Solo and the Skywalkers. Let's see here. Yes, it's great to see you too. I'm glad you're joining us. Hi, Dystopian. How are you doing? Good morning. What is your choice of drink this morning? Or, yeah, for you, it looks like morning as well. Genesis, there is rumors that the Mandalorian Season 2 will go into explaining plot holes from the sequel trilogy. Well, I wouldn't put it past them. They've been using other source materials to explain all those plot holes that are created. And, you know, when we seen, was it episode 7 come out? When we seen the healing with Baby Yoda, that was all to like help people understand and play into the force healing that happened in Rise of Skywalker. So, you know, we may kind of get disgusted on the direction they're going or how they're mishandling the lore, I guess you can say, in a sense where it's like just all over the place. They are using their expanded universe and other source materials to explain all their errors that they did in the movies, and that is just bad storytelling. But hey, what can you say? It's their fault. It's their fault. Worst assassin ever stabbed her own toe. I know, right? Worst warrior, huh? Hi, Tito. How are you doing? Again, what is your choice of drink this morning? Mr. Dystopian, I used to have all the Tartakovsky Clone Wars books. Oh, really? Nice. I have the Clone Wars, this 2 series, the 2 cartoon series. So, and I finished half of the first one, and I got to finish the next one so I can do a review or whatever on that. Did you read the Dawn of the Jedi story from Dark Horses Comics? No, I didn't. How was it? It was one of the last Star Wars stories they did. Oh, okay. No, I haven't. Like I said, I haven't read much comics. I do have, like I said, I do have the ones I just recently bought and the Luke Skywalker series of comics I have here. I was never into comics that much growing up, but now that I realize the value that they have with the lore being discontinued, you know, and they're not producing anymore, I am one of those going to be a collector and try to get all of them. Let me grab the one I have, my favorite one. Ouch. Okay, bearing weight on that toe, not so good. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, all right. Sorry for the hopping around. The coldest room in my house is my studio. So I have the heater on. It's like about 39 degrees outside. And so my studio is a bit chilly, even though I have the heater on. So I have a blankie. So I'm cozy here with you guys. I hope you guys are having a good morning and it's not as eventful as mine. Okay. So this was the very first comic I got right here. So I love this, but I adored their story. I really, really adored their story. Disney is trying their best to kill Star Wars. They're trying. I hate to think that they are doing that on purpose. I think a lot of it is misunderstanding with the lore and wanting to create their own Star Wars in their own light, but not knowing and understanding the lore or how George set it up and the mythology that he based his Star Wars on, and that it was continued on into the EU. And so I think that they're missing the mark in a lot of ways. And it's really disheartening to us fans, and it's really turning a lot of like long-term fans off. I thought it was interesting. Yeah. Oh, the Union? Oh, no, you're talking about the other one. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, you're talking about, okay. Sorry. I'm still stuck on Union. Yeah, they're discovering that the EU had purpose. The EU always had purpose. It was a great storytelling. And it gave us a great window to what Luke was to accomplish and how he was supposed to be, or how he is to be in his light of his father. So he's to become the Jedi his father was to be, and have the power his father was supposed to have. And so I think that's a great legacy, like just kind of like inheriting that, and being what your father was to become, and living that life in general like that. Okay, if that makes sense. Okay. If a baby could force heal, why couldn't Jedi Masters if it was that easy? And that's the thing. And I've been debating, and I think I'll do it. I have half of my lightsaber part 2 lore recorded. I've had some technical difficulties because I was using StreamYard. I have it free. And so you're only allotted so many hours a month to use it for free. And I'm coming up on the time, so I had to make the choice. Today's payday, so it's been updated. But yesterday I had to make the choice on if I'm going to use up the rest of the time finishing up my lore video. Excuse me, let me take a drink. Or save time for coffee chat today. So that lore video is still coming up. It's just halfway there. But with the healing part, I want to cover that compare and contrast, because when you look at the original EU, there's only a handful of Jedi that can heal. And that's including Anakin was one of them, but also too, depending on your strength in the Force will determine if you're a healer, how much you can heal. And so Anakin, Luke, it was Mara Jade, I think. Then we have Sigil. And there's like a few other, but it was like maybe 9 of them that's listed in the lore that can heal, and the rest of them can't. So when you go into the series that I'm going to be covering next week, and it's Legacy of the Force, you will see that Jaina Solo can't heal herself. She doesn't have the Force healing abilities. And in the series, she has to be put in the Bacta tank. And with Disney Lucasfilm, it's like, oh, it's just everybody, if you have the Force, if you're Force sensitive, you can do it. If you're a Skywalker, you'll just die from it. That's my conclusion. If you're a Skywalker, you're going to die using too much of the Force. So, hi, Luke Skywalker. How are you doing? Got your cup of hot chocolate going on there? Yeah, that Union comic, I love. And I love how, Luke is still kind of questioning things, because he's always been the person that analyzes and has some doubts. And that's his, downfall a little bit with himself, is that he's always been downfall, especially when he was, going back and forth about training Leia and training the twins when she was pregnant with the twins in Heir to the Empire. And so he had, he was succumbing to doubt if he could do it, if he was strong enough, he was capable enough. And it's great to see someone who evolves into Grandmaster still have those doubts and still has those failures and stuff. I wouldn't say failures, but those obstacles. Have my hot chocolate with you. All right. Lord Severin, they can only try to copy the style, but not the substance of Star Wars. That's a good point. And good morning to you. That's a good point, because they have the substance, they have all that there, but it's just like they can't bring it forward. Or they're trying to make it too much their own, that they're forgetting that there's rules that they need to follow, I guess you could say. Obi-Wan. And so we have 17 people here. So hit the like button, you guys. Share on Twitter. Let them know I'm here and that we're discussing original lore right now and having coffee or whatever your drink is and just chatting it away. So Genesis, Obi-Wan, heal me. I can't. I didn't bypass training. Train the boy then. Are you talking about like with Padme? Obi-Wan, heal me. I can't. Okay. Yeah, Barriss Offee. Let me see. I'm going to pull the list up real quick. All right. Force healing. All right. And of course, we're not looking at the canon or Disney lore. We're looking at the original. So here they are. So of course, Barriss Offee, Barristan Thor, Shakti, Trasa, Vakara Chi, Kate Skywalker, Anakin, Luke, Mara, Mitra, Saruk, Caleb, and Seagull. So those are the ones. And I think they're missing Yoda in there. If you read when he was dealing with Cardass, and he was kidnapped by some dark Jedi. If you haven't read that, it got into that. Excuse me. Yoda, I guess, helped heal him, and through that, gave him, I wouldn't say force abilities, but there's something that changed in Cardass when Yoda was taking care of him that that gave him some certain abilities and luck, I guess you could say. I don't know. That's the best way I can explain it. So I don't know why Yoda's not on that list, and maybe it just wasn't updated since then. Hi, the ambassador. How are you doing? Good morning. What is your choice of coffee or your choice of drink this morning? And that's the thing up in the air, is that when you see A New Hope and Luke is knocked out by the Tusken Raiders, the way that Obi-Wan handles him, it looks like he was, healing him, or there's some kind of healing going on there, or bringing him back from being knocked unconscious. And so it's not put in there because I think that's the only time we've ever seen that with Obi-Wan. Who knows? So that's a good point. And that's something I've seen people debate on before. Okay, Stick Kenobi. SJWs can't create. They can only copy and edit and just apply their politics into a fantasy it's supposed to be escapism, so yeah. Genesis. Okay. OG Star Wars. Qui-Gon talking to Obi-Wan. Sorry. Oh. Did I miss something you said up there? Oh, okay, on that one, yes. Oh, okay. It almost sounded like, when Obi-Wan is with Padme when she's having the twins. They can only regurgitate. Lemonade, currently eating lunch. Nice. Yeah, it is like it's almost 9:30 here, so I understand that, some of you guys are going into lunch. Depending on where you are in the world, you might be going to bed as well. So thank you guys for coming in and joining me this morning. And on a work day too. I don't work until evening times if I'm teaching yoga, and then I work Thursdays and Friday nights at a dance studio. Okay. Stick Kenobi. Kenobi was reviving Luke, waking him up. dying after using the Force? Are the Skywalkers just glass cannons now? That's the thing, because so Luke did his Force projection in the Disney lore. However, when we see him, doing those Force projection or illusions in EU, he's okay. Okay, so again, the series that I'm going to be getting into, Legacy of the Force, Luke Force projects himself as an illusion over Jaina's body when she's confronting her brother. And in one of the early confrontations before they have their actual duel and she kills him. And spoiler alerts, I'm sorry. And so he creates that illusion because he's trying to, because Jacen Solo is looking into the future so he can predict Luke's actions, because he thinks Luke is coming after him, not Jaina. So he wants to keep her safe. he wants to keep Jacen guessing and thinking it's Luke that's going after him. And so he creates an illusion and as if Jaina is Luke, him. And so it's very interesting. That would be, but yet we get Disney, Star Wars, and Luke dies when he Force projects himself. So, hi, Ed Flores, Columbia Dark Roast, greetings, and everybody. Hello, nice. Luke Skywalker, it was the first Force power seen on screen. It is the New Hope book. I can send you the piece through Twitter. Yeah, sure. Again, because everybody debates about that, so please do. I've heard the Disney trilogy compared to the OT if it was rewritten by man-hating feminists. Laugh out loud. And there's a debate that in the contract that they can't reboot the original lore, like the original movies are, and recreate them. And so what I see here is with their movies, they are retconning them to change the story up. So they can't, and so that's just, I have never seen the contract, so I take everything with a grain of salt. Between George and Disney, when the buyout happened. And so with that, like I said, I take it with a grain of salt. But, to protect his assets, I could see that. Protect the original lore, because was his brilliance. That's what he brought out. It was a success. That's his babies. And we can see that with his interviews. Basically him saying, he sold them to white slavers. So you could really know how he feels about this new change going on. And it kind of whispers that maybe that's in the contract, but however, we haven't seen it. So again, I just take things with a grain of salt. All right, my Jedi. Ooh, you guys are hopping today. My Jedi sage on Sator was more powerful than Luke in the sequel trilogy. That's a problem, and that's games. And so when you have books written off of games, so the books that are written off of games are basically a part of the lore. But however, when you play the games, because you're allowed to pick your character and develop them in your way, kind of, it's quasi canon, I guess you can say. So those events happen, but how you played them is not exactly how they happened in the lore. Overdosing on the Force is impossible. You don't pull the Force into you. It's all around him, and you just guide it. Yeah, and that's the thing. And that's where they get that really confused, is that the Force is all around you. It binds you. So that's where, again, we have fans that are, very disgusted with what are the direction even the Force is being taken. It's not the overall mystery anymore. If they just killed Luke off so Leia can train Rey. Yeah, and the thing is I did delve into some of the books, curious, and because I like to compare and contrast the lore, there's some things I'll look into. I may not buy the source materials, but I'll go online and research it. And to compare and contrast, I was curious about Leia's story in the beginning of Disney Lucasfilm. So I bought Bloodlines and I read it and I was very disgusted with it. And that's when I decided not to read their crap anymore. So I do have the book here. I should burn it. And basically they destroy her her legacy with Han. And they also state in the book, and I've said this before, that book in the timeline is 28 ABY. So it's right before Darkness Trilogy, I guess you can say. And so it's talking about herself in the past all the way up into the current presence. And so what's stated in that book is that she refused training from Luke, that he only gave her some very basic force training, and that's a little bit of telekinesis, how to use more of telekinesis. But she refused training. She never made a lightsaber. She was stuck with, not stuck. She chose a political path. And so now they're retconning their own material. Genesis, OG Star Wars, is there beeping coming from your studio? Yes. I have to change my battery in my detector in the attic. So sorry about that. And I don't have a door on my studio yet, so I have to keep the heat coming in to help it more heat come in. I have my curtains up so you can hear it more now, so I apologize. Ambassador, OG Stars, I woke early morning. I'm done for the day, just relaxing now. I restart my master classes today. Master classes, huh? What are you going for? What's your path? Trying to get back in routine again after being off from classes for a year. Oh, wow. Well, congratulations on your restarting. Sometimes it's harder, sometimes it's not. But when you hit the floor running and going and build that momentum up, then it makes it a lot easier. Jefferson, good morning. Getting ready to go to work. Got my cup of espresso with steamed milk, reading New Jedi Order, Dark Journey. Presently, Happy New Year. Awesome. Congratulations on, your journey through the New Jedi Order. I really like that series as well because I like the new threat and the new bad guys. It's not the original. It's not the remnants of the Empire. And it shows how even this gives the Jedi a huge challenge as well, and that they're not infallible. So yeah, I love that series. And that is a big series, one that I want to cover here soon. And I will, I'm kind of jumping around, so I'm not going in order of the timeline. I will give you guys the information on where they fall in the timeline when I do review series and review the lore. Optimus Prime, hello, how are you doing? That's true. There's certain things they aren't supposed to do. Okay, my poor toe is throbbing right now. I feel it. It's cleaned and everything. Luke Skywalker. So I'm still reading down. The phrase headcanon is being used so much now. I write my own stories and tell the new original stories, but they are most consistent with my Luke arc. Yeah. And I mean, people will say, oh, I have my own headcanon. And so I'm trying to insert Disney canon or Disney lore with the original lore. And, I'm trying to make it work or whatever. And more power to you. However, the more they develop their lore, the less it's going to be coherent with the original lore. Genesis, the Force is the Force. Of course. That's a good one. All right. Okay. Ed Flores, how about a Bloodlines burning live stream with cocktails? Maybe when it gets warm outside, or maybe I'll have to bundle up and I'll make a bonfire outside. I live in an area where it's secluded, very rural. Well, it's a reservation. So I wouldn't say we don't apply for burning laws like around in the area here where I live out in California, because I live in agriculture country here in California. But we do, as we do follow them, even though we don't have those kind of laws on the reservation here. So it would be fun. Bundle up, get my boots on, jeans, nice jacket, and get a nice bonfire out there. Yeah, it'd be kind of dark though. I would have to do it during the day, but bonfires at night, it's more fun. All right, Genesis, OG Star Wars, okay, because I've been walking around my house listening to beeping. I'm so sorry. We got to get that changed. We changed most of the batteries already, so we still have to get up there. Ryan should have the hot dogs. Ryan, our drunk 3PO. All right. Let's see here. The ambassador, I think what they did was try to conflate the scene in ESB and Empire Strikes Back when Yoda first lifts the X-Wing and appears fatigued due to that. How I think it'd be more due to Yoda's age than him using the Force too much. Well, he tells Luke that that size matters not, and he's using the Force. So the Force, no matter what, he should be able to harness it with his strength in the Force without any restraints. So I don't think that it like ages you, or I don't think that your age it weakens with your age. I don't know. And that's what makes the Force a mystery, is that there's things we don't know, and that's how it should be. It should be fairly unknown and still a mystery, mystical type. I hate to use power, but power, I guess. And that not everybody can harness it with the same abilities. And even those people who have very, very, very little Force abilities or Force strength or Force sensitivity, there you go, will determine if you can even train in it. Because there's people when you read the lore, there's people in the galaxy that really not Force sensitive, even though the Force is like the ever giving source of life, I guess you can say. And then you have people that are way powerful that it's easy to train with, like Anakin Skywalker and even Yoda. Hi, James. How are you doing? I'm trying to leave early to get to the bus because so far the year it's been unreliable. Oh, that's tough. I'm so sorry. Happy Dinosaur. It's Masters of Divinity. To put it simply, it's a master degree that focuses on Christian theology and church organization, etc. Oh, that's very interesting. Okay. Thanks for sharing. Okay, I'm trying to catch up to the bottom ones. That was the comment about the contract with Disney not allowing them to do certain things. And I would think it'd be rightfully so that he developed the contract in that sense. I can send you some of my stories. They are more consistent with Legends, Luke. All right. I do have my email. I do put in my email in the source content below. So after this live stream is over, I'll have that all there. You can even email them to me if you want. Okay. Lord Severn, at least Chuck Wendig is no longer associated with Star Wars. Oh, God. Let's see here. Don't remember who paid the $20, but Ryan is man of his word. Was this on the book burning? I was thinking about writing my own stories, bridging the gaps between New Jedi Order and Legacy. Oh, that's very interesting. So New Jedi, well, there's stories between New Jedi Order and Legacy, but I know there's like a little time frame, and then you have Dark Nest trilogy. So are you thinking about that, like between New Jedi Order and Dark Nest? Because you have to consider those stories in there. Okay, Stick Kenobi. Yoda isn't fatigued in the scene. He is resigned and disappointed in Luke. That is why he exhales and looks down. Yeah, so he was like, come on now, it's not about the size, it's about the ability and having confidence in yourself, and and letting go and letting the force guide you and using the force. And that was one of the biggest lessons that Luke had to learn is letting go and maybe not thinking too much about it. That's what I got from it, thinking too much about it. All right. Oh, with the missing generations after Ben and Jaina. So are you okay? So you're thinking right after Legacy of the Force and or not, our Fate of the Jedi and Legacy comics? Is that what you're thinking about, Mr. Dystopian? Because there's that time frame there, right after Crucible. Yeah, so right after Crucible, then there's that gap where Sword of the Jedi was supposed to come out, and so that expands more on the Sword of the Jedi. Jaina Solo fell because she just got married, and she's now a Fel. And then you have that whole time frame, that whole gap, and then when we get into Legacy, we have the Fel Empire. So basically, her descendants, her and Jagged Fel's descendants, and then of course Cade Skywalker, Nat, and Cole. And so bridging that gap with how Nat, Cole, and Cade came about through Ben Skywalker, and basically, creating the lineage between Jaina and, was it Marasiah Fel? I might have got her name wrong. OG Star Wars, are you familiar with Tag and Bink, Star Wars comedy comics about two Imperials that keep getting into trouble? Somewhat familiar. I know that, those are the Infinities. And so isn't that Infinities? I don't know what happened. I clicked on one of your guys' things and I was booted out. That was weird. Okay. All right. Yoda had just told Luke to be patient earlier. Luke wasn't patient with the X-Wing lifting. No, he wasn't. And that's the thing, is that you have to let go. You have to, like with my painting, for example, it creates a lot of patience. And if I'm not feeling patience, if I feel rushed, I'm not going to do a good job. And so that's the life lesson right there in this fantasy that we love, is that it gives you stuff to attach to that's not necessarily our worlds in particular, like how we're seeing Disney insert, but basically a common human existence on learning patience, growth, and just that journey. So basically that hero's journey that we can relate to. This saga Star Wars with Tom Wiseau, the full story, Bloody Gold. Hi, Benjamin. How are you doing? Damn, one post and the stream cuts out. I see how it is. I don't know what happened. I went to go click on someone's comment to display it down here, and then it went off, and I'm like, what the heck? I mean, it's an adventure with this damn StreamYard. But we're here. It can't be as bad as me stabbing my toe. I mean, having that knife drop onto my toe, like literally drop onto it. So if you haven't read my Twitter and seen my little graphic picture, I went to move my laptop that I'm on for live stream over onto my workstation, where I have my computer, my printer, because behind me is my painting station. And I didn't know that there was a knife like underneath the laptop or a piece of paper, and I grabbed it. It slid off and went straight down, stabbed like on the cuticle nail bed side of this one of my toenails, and stuck up for a few seconds and then or for a second and fell over. And so that was very weird. Yeah, of course it hurt, and I was preparing to get everything done for today's live stream, getting ready to get the pot of coffee going, and so that put a halt into everything. Maybe I should do a review on Tig and Binks. Huh, that would be fun. Just to have a fun laugh, right? The galaxy is built on hope. Yes. And so we're going to go into this. I did do a video on this, but we'll just touch bases since it's like catching interest on Twitter and social media right now, is that the new timeline that they're building now, and that everything's now set to 0 at The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. And it is BSI and ASI instead of BBY and ABY. And so again, covering that again. They are doing that because they're making theirs more significant, and they're pushing everything that came before aside. Just like they pushed the Legends aside, now they can't really necessarily make the movies irrelevant and push them aside to make them Legends, but they are pushing them aside because they want their material to be more relevant. And that's how I see that. And so the New Hope, or Star Wars, before it was called A New Hope, was 0 in the timeline because that's where the hope began. Luke Skywalker was the hope. He was the hope of bringing peace to the galaxy and the hope of recreating the Jedi Order. Yeah, I know. I decided that was unbeknownst to me as well. I mean, it just like, boom, and it's a stupid steak knife. So kind of dull too. So yeah. All right. So I was, like I said, with my part 2 on my Jedi, or my lightsaber history. I was using StreamYard to record some of the material so I can have some stuff displayed in it. And again, when you use it for free, you only are allotted so many hours a month. So I'm updating it so that I don't have to worry about time frame. And I needed to keep the few hours I have here for today. And so I didn't quite finish it just yet. So we're going to talk a little bit about lightsabers. And so one quote I like is, and I shared it on Twitter, is by Tion Selusar, and she's one of the historians that Luke brought in. I mean, she's not very strong in the Force. However, she did get trained and became a master. And that's what I love about Star Wars, is that you can, your ability will determine where you are and where you're going to serve in the Jedi Order. If you're, strong enough to be trained. She was still strong enough to be trained, but she wasn't as strong as other Jedis. And she was a historian. She was very fascinated with the lore, and she collected it on her own before Luke found her. And so I'm going to go ahead and share a quote here from her. According to the holocrons, the earliest lightsabers were crude devices that utilized an experimental frozen blaster technology to create an energy beam of fixed length. Tion Selusar. And so that was going into my lore video too, as well, is that, she had all the research and the history, and explains the early lightsabers of the past before we see them as we see them in the movies and in the lore and the modern lore of Star Wars. All right. You're welcome. Yeah, what the hell is this High Republic era nonsense? Ugh, they better not drag Revan 3600 years forward. I don't know. That's hard to say. That's right now is being a speculation about that. But maybe they're just rewording it now, which is kind of disheartening as well. But I mean, they reconstructed the timeline. They can reconstruct the name of each era as well. The Empire had another name for me. Darth Dystopian. I remember they had a farm of rejected Padawans. Yeah, so they had different areas to go into. So they had like an eco type, agricultural type place where some Jedis went, and that's where they're skilled at and stuff. So they had all that down. And that's another thing I want to break down is like the different divisions that Jedi were placed in according to their abilities. This has been, hi, Ambassador. This has been fun. Need to get ready. Have a good day, everyone. And OG Star Wars, may the force be with you. All right, you have a good day, and thank you for dropping in and joining us. Benjamin Keith. Wasn't she the one who either knew or found the Jedi holocron Luke used to access Exar Kun Master? I can't remember how that went down. Let me think here. I think that was the one that holocron is the one that Palpatine had from Dark Empire, I think. But I know she recovered a lot of artifacts and a lot of history and lore, and she had on her. But correct me if I'm wrong, but I know that there's one because Leia was viewing it and learning, and they were told, she was told about the prophecy of her and her brother way back when. Republic, Peach Corps, and Medical Services. Yeah. That'd be fun just to go over what areas there were in the past Jedi Order too as well. I mean, there's so much to cover, and this is so exciting, and I just can't wait to just like go ahead and break down like the order and the different, workforces and all that as well. Okay. Hi, pal. How do you see the new Jedi Order announced in the rumors going? Okay, that's it. We're going to go back to lightsabers, and then I'll cover that one right now. There's rumors that they're going to do this new Jedi Order thing for Disney Lucasfilm. So rumor development, I guess you can say. And that they want to give us the Luke that we know and love, but it's not going to be very consistent with their own lore, because we see Luke, who basically seems like he wasn't really trained as much, and he never advanced as much when you look into the Disney lore, the Disney Lucasfilm lore of Luke. And so it's still not going to be the same, because they still have to tie him in to the Luke we see in the sequel trilogies. So what are they going to do? Like have some explanation that his ability was drained from him? I don't know. And so I'm not sitting too well with that. And I'm not going to get into it, because they're trying to give us the Luke that we want. I will just stay in the original lore, where the Luke that we know and love is consistent and there's no damage to his arc. If they kill off Baby Yoda, which would be best? Rancor or Wood Chipper? I don't know. Maybe Rancor. I believe the Jedi had to evolve. I could not restore them to their former glory, but they could be reinvented. And that's the thing we see in the new Jedi Order, that in a sense, even without Luke Skywalker knowing, he fixed some things that were big errors in the Jedi Order of the Old Republic time, and from there recreated and reinvented them to be a bit more successful, to have families, to I mean, it's just amazing. So, the compare and contrast between what Luke did compared to what we've seen in the lore in the past of his dad's time. And it's a very, very interesting arc. And I favor and everybody's going to have their own favorite, but I favor the New Jedi Order, or the New Order of the New Republic and the Galactic Alliance better than that of the prequel time. They throw Baby Yoda into carbonite. And you know, dystopian, when I was talking about Boba Fett, and you know, after reading the series of the Bounty Hunter Wars, I was like, he would totally turn in Baby Yoda. He would put him in carbonite if he needed to, because he does have force abilities, and he'll be like, here you go. Thank you for the payment. I'm done. So, but he was a no nonsense kind of guy. He was like, I do my work. I do it good. I complete it and I'm done. I'm out of here. And that's the kind of person he was. Benjamin Keith, Baby Yoda turns out to be evil with clone troopers like microchip in his brain. He's the final boss. And it's heartbreaking when the Mando has to kill him. He speaks in some cute voice. Sorry, I am. That would be fun to see. That's just. Would you imagine like the 1,000 voices that cry out if that really happened with those who really love Baby Yoda? I would see Twitter and Facebook and all that go off on that, but it'd be so glorious. Padawan Alora has been reading my texts. All right. And a bold ending. All right, so going back to, because I have to cut this. I've always tried to keep this an hour long. We've been going hour and a half. I have to be somewhere here soon, and it just started raining here. Nice. So let's go over a little bit more about lightsabers here. So the beginning of lightsabers, the Rakata were the ones that invented or brought in the Force saber. And then it eventually evolved into the lightsabers that was as we know it of today. And they eventually were attached to power packs. Their focusing crystal, they eventually learned how to encase the plasma that are from the crystals and from the energy pack. However, they were attached to the energy pack in the past, where it limited their abilities and their movement. And what I'm getting at is, as they evolved and the refinement of the lightsabers evolved, Sith developments developed the saber as we know them today. So that's an interesting history and an interesting take, because you see the Sith now, like Palpatine, if you read the stories about him, like in the novels, and other Sith, they basically use the lightsabers now to mock the Jedi a little bit, as in like, so at least that's what I got from Palpatine, is like he carried it to just, you know, as a type of mockery maybe. And yeah, so let's go into that. So I'm going to read this quote here. Although lightsabers are a superior weapon, there are still nothing quite as satisfying as feeling the warm spray of blood when one cleaves through one's enemy with a real sword. And that's Kumak Daw. And so that's just going into the Sith history here. You know, of course, before the sabers, before we see the lightsabers, there was basically the steel sword as well. The crying Rylos. All right. It seems the Dark Lords of the Sith Empire were ultimately responsible for the advancement of the lightsabers, replacing a belt-mounted pack with a power cell within the hilt. And so that's the evolution. So that's very interesting, right? And we all know that dark side and the light side evolved from the Jedi, and after their battles and stuff, they, you know, went to the dark siders were vanquished to the Sith world, and that's where we see the evolution of the Sith and the dark side and all that, and how now we see Sith, but they're not exactly just like the Mandalorians. They're not exactly the species anymore. Yeah, so you're right. The ancient Jedi wielded the swords, and so yeah, so before then, before we had this bolster packed energy sword, it was the regular sword. Dang, it's going strong here. I can really hear that rain. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's really raining hard outside right now. Ironically, the pre-PT and even some literatures during the PT suggested Palpatine saw the lightsaber as a toy compared to dark side mastery. Yeah, and that's what I was getting at. And so he used it to mock them, and when he had to fight them and stuff, and it was just his, I wouldn't say weirdness, but just his train of thought. Sadly, the Clone Wars 2008 contradicts that reality like most things. Yeah, and there's a lot of so I've never been a huge fan of the Clone Wars. There are some episodes that were really fun to watch and I really liked it, but I just overall never been a huge fan. I like the Clone Wars cartoon series more so, because there was a lot more of continuity, and I'm a big continuity person, and it kept with the lore. Revenge of the Sith kind of maintains the paradigm, but the Clone Wars 2008 breaks it. Yeah. Reminds the time when I went to Camino. All right, so we're going to start closing here, but I'm going to go over this development more of how the Sith developed the saber as we know it of today, and how it's adopted by the Jedi. Okay, so they had they developed an internal superconductor, and which was transferred into the return loop. So basically, the internal superconductor helped transfer and return looped energy from the negative charge flux aperture back into a internal power cell. So basically we see the Sith, they learn how to, power the lightsabers within so that there's no cords and stuff. And eventually it was adopted by the Jedi. And so I'm going to share this quote by Vergere. A lightsaber is an interesting weapon, a blade unique to the history of warfare, a paradox not unlike the Jedi who wielded it. Those peaceful warriors who kill in the service of life. Have you ever noticed? The blade is round, it has no edge, but it's a lightsaber, which means it is nothing but edge. There is no part of the blade that does not cut. Curious, yes. Symbolic, one might say. So that's Vergere. And so we see her in the New Jedi Order as well. And so she has a very interesting arc with Jacen Solo. The rain outside. What would my lightsaber, can't even read now, color be? I am partial to green or purple. So I haven't really, between the two colors, I have not decided which one I like the best. All right. So eventually by 5000 BBY, during the Great Hyperspace Wars is when the Jedi start adopting the lightsaber as their weapon as well, or not adopting it, but adopting the Sith version. So the new recreated Jedi or lightsaber with the power pack with inside. So I thought that was very, very interesting. And so I'm still going to post that video, part 2 of lightsaber history. I think it's going to be like a 5-part series because I want to get into the different styles of lightsabers, as well as how crystals are harnessed, are made, especially when we get into Luke Skywalker's era where he had to cook his own synthetic crystal. And then also a compare and contrast of lightsabers in the original lore and what they're developing them as in the new lore, or the Disney lore. So we're going to go ahead and start ending it here. Just a little bit of talk about lightsabers, you guys. Before we go, each and every one of you, we have 10 here now. Thank you guys for coming in. We did make it close to 20 this morning. So share in the comments which lightsaber, like you can even share the style that you like, the color of your blade, which one would you prefer. You can even share if you want, if you prefer to be dark side and wield a red lightsaber or whatever, but share in the comments below before we fully close out here. Please go hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't. I'm pretty sure all of you guys are subscribed as well, and share this. And again, I'm partial to either green or purple. And let's see here. I'm going to read. Whoops. TT, when I was a kid, I thought the blue lightsaber was the Padawan and you get the green when you graduated to a Jedi Knight. And that's the thing, is that because we see, not knowing the history, you know, like the development of, or just as a young kid, and I wouldn't say not getting the history, but seeing Luke with the blue training and then later we see him with the green, I can understand that that could be like what younger kids would think. You know, until you mature and get older and start understanding the lore, you understand that that was his father's lightsaber and that was the color of the crystal that his saber had. Thank you, Luke. May the Force be with you as well. All right. Probably yellow. Sentinels typically use that one. Yeah. And so I wonder, and now we're going back into Disney lore, Disney Star Wars lore. Those of you who've watched or seen the clips of the ending with Rey, her lightsaber is yellow. So are they still adhering to Sentinel? Is she a Sentinel? I mean, she's never really fully had training. So this is a mystery and I can care less on top of that, but it just makes me wonder. Green for you. Benjamin. Woot, have a good day. And lightsaber style, me having taken fencing, Dooku's blade as shrugs. Easiest to wield. Color, whatever I could find. If I had a cutting blade, I don't know its color. Okay. So Ed Flores, Luke's Return of the Jedi hilt with a teal color. Oh, cool. Interesting. All right. So thank you guys for tuning in. You guys have a great day. Please go pick up if you want to follow along. I'm not doing a book club, but I'm encouraging you guys to follow along with me as I start exploring the Legacy of the Force era. And so the first book in the series, and there's 9 books, is Betrayal. And if you really are interested in Jacen Solo's arc and that basically the twins and Luke Skywalker as a Grand Master, you know, and also to how he struggles and how he deals with the pain and sorrow of losing his wife and all that. I mean, pick up the book, start with me, Betrayal. You can pick, if you don't have the novel, you can go purchase it. I recommend it. If you don't have time to read, I understand people are busy. Get the Audible because it's a great companion to the book. And it's a great way to get into the series. If you don't have time, you can, you know, listen to it while you commute, while you work around the house, whatever. And you'll get an understanding just of the overall plot that's going on. So starting Tuesday, I will have that Betrayal lore review up of the novel. And then that Thursday, we will talk about Betrayal, the novel, and go over everything in that novel, have fun talking about it, have fun geeking out on Jason Solo in his arc, and, you know, even Ben Skywalker, because we are having Ben Skywalker now in the lore, and including, you know, all our favorites, you know, Leia, Han, Wedge is in there. Also, Han struggling with wanting to join his world side, you know, Corellia side in this new conflict that's going on. So it's a great beginning of the legacy of the lore there in Legacy of the Force. So thank you so much, you guys, for coming in. Pick up the book Betrayal, Audible, or go purchase it or pick it up if you already have it in your library. Have a good day, and may the Force be with you.